Hey fellas, good morning. It's the 12th of January. Uh, just got done talking to a young man. Let me fix a coffee. He finished his coffee. There's the rest of the pot. He ate. Let me show you. He ate 4 of the cupcakes and about 5 or 6 of the cookies. There is Bella. I cannot tell you. Very good kid. Fuck, I forgot to lock the door. Let me lock the door. Didn't shut the door. Let's shut the light off here. Anyways, he wasn't drunk. He wasn't upset. But he just wanted to talk. And golly. All right, Bella. All right. He just needed he just wanted to ask me some questions. His name's Michael. He is 23 years old. And he wants to be what he thinks his chosen profession is to become a doorman. And that's the guys that stand out in front of the clubs and say who can and can't come in. And pretty much, we called them bouncers when I was coming up, and I didn't know they had changed the title to doorman. So I don't think any of us as men can get where we want to go without a plan. Sometimes when you're younger, it's hard for you to think about what you want your life to look like when you get to be my age. I didn't grow up like a lot of people, so I knew the life that I was doing. I was selling drugs in Highland Park, Michigan, is what I was doing. And till I got caught. I was also, how I got caught was in, I don't know if you know what a longshoreman is, but back in the day they would get paid with a check, and they could go to their local bar and they'd have what they call a couple of pops, which is beers or drinks, maybe a snack or something before they took their money home. And what I used to do is I would wait for them and rob them. That was one of the things I did. Anyways, doesn't matter. Until I got caught, and then my last chance was to go into the military, and it saved my life and changed my life. It allowed me to see a different part of our society that I just was never exposed to. And Michael, he's I think he's maybe 6'3" or 6'4", about 230, between 230 and 250. Good-looking guy. And I asked him, I told him the same thing I tell most of the young men, and I tell them how I start my talking to them is I tell them, I wish at age 59 I could go back and talk to myself at your age. Here's what I would say. And I told him, you can't get anywhere really unless you have a plan. And part of your plan has to include the 3 phases of your life, and that's your dreamer phase, which he's in the last stages of his dreamer phase. Then you got to have a career phase, and then you have to plan for your retirement, which I call your retirement phase. My goal, and this was my goal, I wanted to retire by age 50 and not ever have to work again. And I believe that because I had a plan, I was able to make rearward. I started off with the finish line in mind and planned backwards. There we go. That's easier for me to say. Um, the most, I think it's difficult to tell younger men nowadays. And when I offer them advice, I'm not telling them what they have to do to be successful. I don't have like a one shoe fits all, everybody, one size fits all. It is far more important that you give a young man time to talk and just listen, which is a very undervalued skill. Now, I always talk about you have two ears and one mouth, and you should automatically listen twice as much as you speak. But sometimes that's hard for us as older guys because we want to just cut to the chase and get to the point. So I let him explain how his plans were to be a doorman, and he said if he played his cards right, he could retire in 15 years. And I asked him how many other doormen did he know that were my age, and he said none. He said they don't last. And I asked him what happens if he gets shot or stabbed. What happens if he accidentally kills somebody? You punch a guy, he falls, hits his head on the sidewalk, or hits his head on the curb, and he's paralyzed for life, or hits involuntary manslaughter. I mean, what are you going to do there? And he said, well, the business always has a good, they say they have an insurance program and they'll take care of me. And that's where my rub is with a lot of guys in their plans. I don't think it's wise for any man to think that someone else is going to help you. Someone else is going to help you when you're in trouble. I have always operated under the assumption that I was on my own, and that if I didn't make it happen, it wasn't going to happen. To put your faith and fate into someone else's hands is assuming that those people care as much about your life trajectory as they care about theirs. And that is absolutely unreasonable for you as a man to assume that anyone else on earth gives a shit about you when it doesn't benefit them. And I explained to him some of the times, that's the heater going off. I explained to him sometimes how you have guys that'll work 19 years, 11 months for a company, and they fire him right before he's supposed to collect his retirement and benefits and all the rest of that stuff, because it's just cheaper to get rid of him. So we talked, but most of the time I just listened. I would get out what I call my version of talking to guys. I call it burst communications. Now I'll just try to get 3 or 4 things out real quick, and then I'll ask him what he thinks about that. I told Michael that the only one I know about is because I see their commercials is Western Tech, and about getting a job in the trade fields, and that you can make a lot of money, and that there's different levels of it. Like, I think it's apprentice, journeyman, and then master. And those fields are a plan in themselves to get you where you want to go. And if I understand the trades correctly, that Once you become a master, or most guys become master carpenters, master builders, master mechanics, and that because they want to use that license to start their own business. I also told him that, and then I just said, "Well, what do you think about that?" Um, I think it is a big mistake for you as a younger man to not have a plan. And I'd like you to consider adopting part of this plan. I think the first plan you should make for yourself is, when do I want to retire? When do I want to stop working? I can tell you, mine was age 50. I got out a little bit before that, but that was my initial plan. I wanted to stop working, walk away from everything, and just be able to live off of the money that I had made throughout my lifetime from when I was younger to now. I am, for me personally, I have everything I want. I was never a guy that wanted that house up on the hill that I can show you, that I show you guys sometimes. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy running around in a McLaren or Bugatti or anything like that. I have never felt the need to show how successful I am by the objects I can buy. Anyways, that's just me. That's just me personally. Um, Once I knew I could get out and stay out of the rat race, I was done. A good day to me is a good hard workout, couple of good meals, maybe talking to a couple of friends, going to a couple of martial arts classes, helping coach, helping teach, doing those kind of things, and then wrapping it up. That's it. That's a very, very good full day for me. A terrorist is trying to make a move on me, not the little one. Anyways, there are a lot of positions that I call hero to zero. Some of them have to do with sales, and sales includes real estate, um, like the job of being a doorman. There is just so much liability in that chosen profession. To me, in the long run, it's not worth it, especially if you get left holding the bag. One of the other things I had to explain to Michael is all insurance policies for businesses and individuals have a limit of liability. That means that if you exceed, if let's say it's $1 million policy, and you're getting sued for hurting somebody or crippling them for the rest of their life, and they sue you for $1.5 million, the limit, after that limit of insurance, the $1 million hits, the insurance company, their attorneys, their investigators, all of those people, including the business, walk away, and you're holding the bag for like at least $500,000. And that's why I was talking to him about if he hurt somebody really bad. Because there's a lot of guys that get what I call our liquid courage, which means, and it's why I stopped drinking. Um, a liquid courage is like you get fired up on beer or alcohol of any kind, whatever else you get fired up on, drugs, whatever. And you decide that, I think I can take that guy. I know anyways, I hope I'm making my point. I don't want to belabor the subject with you guys, but there are those of us out here who give a shit about you. And I'll take time to talk to any guy if he's if he really wants to talk about stuff, but it is, you're not being honest with yourself if you think anybody else on planet Earth gives a shit about you and is going to be there for you when you really need it. It's what have you, I told him, what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately? You're not making me money. You're not doing this for me. You're draining resources from my business. You got into a fight. Well, and they'll come back and say, why didn't you stop? Anyways, I'm way off the subject, but again, I tried to talk him out of that profession. It doesn't make sense to me for you to be willing as a young man to go to war with your friends instead of going out and being disciplined and making a career for yourself, making a way in the world for yourself. Because when shit really hits the fan, I'm telling you, when shit really hits the fan, you're usually, I'd say 98, 99% of the time, you're on your own. You got to figure out how to get out of it. The cavalry's not coming. I listed some of the examples. Look at what they did to those poor people in Maui. Look at what they did to those people in the Carolinas. Look at what they're going to do to those people in Los Angeles. And a lot of those people had their insurance policies canceled, so I think if you can sit yourself down and tell yourself, where do I want to be at age 59? Or when do I want to retire and how to get there? I'm going to do what I can to help you. I'm going to show you with the money side of it about the drip stocks. The reason I talk about drip stocks and not gold and other investments is because the drip stocks thing you can do on your own once you figure out the basics of it. The other thing is, I just think our world is going to change quite a bit in the next 5 to 10 years. I don't think that any of the people that are developing these tools, such as AI, autonomous cars, 15-minute cities, and the rest of that, have or care, more than anything, care about the impact all of that's going to have on good, honest, hard-working people. I don't think any of them even give a shit about us. So you should take that to heart and figure out how you can get yourself there in the cat box. Anyways, love you guys. I don't mean to belabor the subject. Stay safe and healthy. Take care of each other if you can. And if you can't, take care of yourselves. I'm telling you, for the most part, all of us are on our fucking own. If you can find a group of guys that you can count on, you are far luckier than most people. A lot of people call that group family. And it's the reason why I think part of the agenda is to people not have families and to keep us isolated. All right? It's why I hang on so hard to the group of guys where we get together and talk. Like a fart in a G-string from West Texas, El Paso. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.